All right, good evening. I'd like to call to order the village board meeting for Monday, December 15, 2025. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Johnson?
Here.
Trustee Lapagianis?
Here.
Trustee Andalay?
Here.
Trustee Wilbrand?
Here.
Trustee Price?
Here.
Trustee Esca?
Here.
Trustee Yuska, could you please lead us in the pledge?
Everybody stand and join me in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Moving on to approval of the agenda. Any additions, corrections, or deletions to tonight's agenda as drafted? Seeing no changes suggested, I'd entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Motion?
Second.
Second by Trustee Alapagianis. Any additional discussion or comment? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Moving on to President's report, we have a public hearing regarding the annexation agreement for approximately 75 acres at the southeast corner of Route 72 and Randall Road. I'd entertain a motion to recess from regular session and enter the public hearing.
So moved. Second.
Second by Trustee Yuska. Any additional discussion or comment? Hearing none, Madam Clerk?
Trustee Price?
Aye.
Trustee Esca?
Aye.
Trustee Johnson?
Aye.
Trustee Lapagianis?
Aye.
Trustee Andalay?
Aye.
Trustee Wilbrand?
Aye.
Madam Clerk, could you please take the roll?
Trustee Johnson?
Here.
Trustee Lapagianis?
Here.
Trustee Andalay?
Here.
Trustee Wilbrand?
Here.
Trustee Price?
Here.
Trustee Esca?
Here.
I'll hand the floor over to Tim.
Just wanted to refresh your. Destructive property.
Tim, just one second. And just for the record, obviously, based on this is a public hearing, public notice was printed in the Daily Herald on November 26th in concert with the statutory requirements.
Okay. Thanks. Tim, feel free to continue.
As you know, this has been in process for some time with GAP, trying to work on a very complicated site with all the topography and all the natural characteristics. A lot of back and forth with the development team, the village engineer, et cetera, and finally advancing the cause here. And McFarland from Lennar is here just to run through this as a refresher about the high levels itself, just to refresh your
Okay,
recollection.
please.
Thank you, Tim. I'm here tonight also with Jessica Cobb from Lennar, Zach Lukes from GRW, which is our land planner and landscape architect, and Ryan Martin from Kimley Horn, who is our civil engineer. This presentation is largely what you saw conceptually when I was here in the summer. As Tim mentioned, we appeared before the Plan Commission as well. We appeared before the ARC to review building elevations and got through that, made some minor adjustments to the building elevations, which are included in the annexation agreement agenda, or annexation agreement exhibits. And so I'm just going to quickly run through what we talked about last time. Okay, next slide. All right. You all know us. We're Lennar. We're building 2 existing communities in West Dundee, Harvest View, and Hickory Glen. We also have a number of other communities active in the northwest suburbs here, all very successful and doing well. Next slide, please, Tim. This slide shows the location. The center star, yellow star that you see is the subject property, Strepik Farm. The other 2 yellow stars you see on the screen just west and east are our 2 other existing townhome communities that we're building in West Dundee. Here's a little closer aerial photo of the site. You can see there's a farm field as well as natural areas. Our land plan, we feel, takes advantage of the natural areas, preserving many of them, and utilizing them as features and lot premiums throughout the site plan. Next Next slide. Here's your comprehensive plan. We talked about that at the conceptual level and at the Plan Commission, but we match the comprehensive plan, we feel, very well with medium-density housing that calls for 1 to 3 units per acre. We're at 2.6 units per acre with a attached duplex ranch product and a traditional single-family home product. Here's our land plan here. As you can see, this is really largely what you saw before. One positive thing that we've figured out, through the planning process, there was a request for a footbridge connection between the northeast corner of the site as well as over across Jelks Creek to the west portion of the site. We've been able to incorporate that into our preliminary engineering plans, and we'll plan accordingly for that in our final plans. The overall, we have 2 product types, as I mentioned. We have 89 single-family homes, and we have 94 duplex units. We have a half-acre private park in the single-family area, as well as a open space sitting area in the northeast duplex area. We're taking advantage of the naturalized areas and putting wetland-style naturalized detention basins up next to those areas. They work nicely abutting and adjacent to them throughout the site. We have generous buffer yards along Randall Road in Carrington, as well as Higgins, and over 3 miles of sidewalk and path going through the site. Next slide, please, Tim. Here you can see how the land plan fits into the surrounding areas. It fits remarkably well with the subdivisions to the east and southeast, picking up on how those were land planned, taking advantage of the naturalized areas and clustering the residential home sites. And we feel we have a good extension of that. It fits well into the topography that we have and the character of the neighborhood as well. Next slide, please, Tim. Here's the profile of our naturalized basins. We feel these are a nice feature. We do them in a lot of Lennar communities. They take a bit of time to establish, but once they're established, they're very low maintenance and do an excellent job of filtering stormwater, especially when they're adjacent to wetland areas and other naturalized areas within the subdivision. Thanks, Tim. Next slide. Here you can see up on the upper left is a site plan with our sidewalk and path network through it. Red is sidewalk, blue is path. Over to the right, top and bottom, are the 2 pocket parks that we have. They would be HOA maintained. The one on the top is in the single family area. The one down below is in the duplex area in the northeast. The images on the left, lower left, are what those parks will be finished. You can see finished with. You can see the seating area on the bottom there, playground area in the single family area park. And then we also provided a image of our monumentation that we're proposing on our landscape plans at the entries to the community. We do have some minor variances associated with this. This was discussed previously, but it primarily has to do with front and side yard setbacks. The single family area, we also have a reduced right-of-way down to 55 feet to be able to have this plan work out. And the items in red up there are the relief variances or deviations that we're requesting. It's been discussed pretty much since the beginning. Next slide. Here's our traditional single family homes. We're building at these homes. This is our Medallion series. We're building these at our highest level communities. It's the product line we've had for a few years with Lennar. It's enormously successful. Square footages range from 2,000 to 3,200 square feet. We have a ranch home in the lineup at about 2,150 square feet, and then 4 other two-story plans, and with multiple elevations of each. Next slide. Here's some images of those same homes at some other communities of ours. Streetscape, a model home in the upper left is at a community of ours in Algonquin. Here's another image kind of showing the same homes backed up to a naturalized basin. This was in the spring when it was a little wetter, more rain. You can see the basin has a little more water than normal in it, but you can see the fingers of vegetation out into it, and as summer goes on, that typically dwindles down a bit with the water, and the more of the wetland vegetation shows up then. Next slide. Here's our duplex elevations. As I mentioned, they are all ranch duplexes. We'll have 3 different color packages. The duplex floor plan is a little over 1,500 square feet, but every duplex unit will have a basement, whether it be a standard basement, lookout, garden-type basement, or walkout, depending on the site conditions. The site, as you know, is rolling, so we need that flexibility with the basement options. We're using this duplex plan at a number of 3 or 4 other communities. Again, it's been very successful. The floor plan lives great, and when you add a basement to it for areas of future finishing, it can provide a lot of nice square footage. Here's some real-life pictures of that duplex product. You can see the trim around all of the windows on all 4 side elevations. Dress it up nicely, coupled with landscaping and 3 different color packages, lights in the garage door, make it look real nice in a streetscape. Some sample interiors here. These are from some recent model homes that we have, but Lennar is both what we call a inventory builder and a dirt builder. An inventory, we always have a number of homes finished or very close to being finished at our communities to allow for prospective customers to be able to move in, in 30, 60, 90 days or less. We also offer the option to build from the ground up if you're able to wait for 6 or 8 months until you have to move. Next slide, please, Tim. That's the overview. And if you could advance one more slide, that's the site plan again for reference for any questions
Wonderful.
or comments.
Thank you. Any questions, comments?
Who is your target demographic for who you're marketing to?
Twofold. Duplex ranches are a move down, empty nester primarily. In the area, we think there's a real shortage of ranch-style homes in the northwest suburbs here, and so that would be a move down empty nester. The traditional single family would be for everybody, but primarily families, but there is also a ranch home in that lineup as well. So if someone was looking for a move down buyer was looking for a ranch, they could get that as well in the single family homes.
And then starting price would be what?
I think a range of pricing here is probably $475 to $675, depending on whether it's duplex or single family home.
Any other
Are there
comments?
any bike paths?
Yes, on the path slide, if we go back a few, there's so that's on the upper left, that's our sidewalk and path slide. There's a blue kind of north or southeast to northwest, and then working with Tim, We also are gonna have a bike path going north-south through the spine road that connects Carrington on the east side, there'll be a bike path there. That was a recent change we worked on with Tim.
It hooks up with a Carrington path that's on the south side of Carrington right there. So
And that'll eventually make its way to Chunky, okay.
and then the bridge was the big move.
Yeah, and the bridge is located, the footbridge is kind of, you can see it connects the northeast duplex neighborhood to the duplexes right there,
Right
yeah,
there.
so it's right in there. That was feedback from the plan commission that we got, and it took us a little bit to investigate, but we think we have a good plan for that.
Okay, any other comments or questions? Great, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn. What's that, Joe? I put that out there, I was just waiting. Nobody raised their hands. Again, I open it up to public comment. Okay. Sir, please come forward. If we can just have your name and address for the record, please.
My name is Ron Rudd. I live at 422 South First Street. I was going to comment on specifically the bicycle facilities that may or may not be included in this development. The majority of the bicycle facilities that have been developed for the community are circuitous paths that are internal to the subdivision. Once again, this one, I can appreciate the connection between what's going to be essentially a cul-de-sac in the northeast quadrant there to the bulk of the community, but there's no facilities along Randall Road or Route 72. And I'm sure that if you go to IDOT or KDOT, who are the jurisdiction agencies over that, they're gonna say, we don't want anything there. But you're the local agency who should be looking for something other than just something circuitous for someone to go for a bike ride or a walk after dinner. You know, we need to try to get more multimodal facilities available for people so that they can try to go somewhere. The development over at Sleepy Hollow and the Pulte development at Sleepy Hollow and 72 right now, I looked at those plans, and to my amazement, there's a path parallel to Route 72. I mean, that's a half a mile away from here, and that's in there and incorporated into the plan. And now it's my understanding that's gonna connect into the path that's being built along Sleepy Hollow Road right now. And that Sleepy Hollow Road path, I'm not sure if that's the village putting that in, or, so the village is putting that in. But in hindsight, that should have been something required when that development was built. It would have been parallel along to Sleepy Hollow Road. Why wasn't that included as part of that?
Grand Point, are you talking about?
Talking
about Tartans and
the hills. The development that it's adjacent to.
Well, the Pulte project is up for discussion tonight.
No, I'm
He's talking
saying.
about Tartans and
What
just
he's-
on the east side of Sleepy Hollow Road,
Correct.
right? Yeah.
What I'm saying is that should have been built, not in our dime, right? That's being built on my dime, or the limited MFT funds, or limited capital funds that
$1
we have.
million
available.
grant.
However, it should have been something that should have been built, in my view, as part of the development. You should be developing these facilities on all the roads parallel to what you're touching. So for instance, in this one, I know the northeast corner, the northwest corner of this development's excluded because it's gonna be a gas station or a strip mall or some other development. The way it's built right now, you're gonna have someone who lives 200 feet away that has to get in a car to go over there if they wanna get whatever, a Subway sandwich, a Jimmy John's sandwich, whatever goes there. So my request to you is to require that they put facilities along 72 and Randall Road. Randall Road has a major project with KDOT that they're trying to do all these fill-in bicycle facilities and put multimodal paths in the whole length of Randall Road in the county, because that hasn't been done in the past. Some communities have. You look up at Algonquin, they've incorporated them. South Elgin has incorporated some. Elgin has started to do it. So that's my request to you, is that you would incorporate that in there and make it part of both this annexation agreement, the preliminary plat, and the final engineering. I know they're coming before you this evening and want you to get this approved tonight so that they can close on the property. This property's been there for forever, and it's gonna be there. You know, I would request that you don't be a puppet to them and just do it because they want that of you. And additionally, they mentioned the detention basins. these detention basins don't look like what they're showing in their pictures, at least from the information I saw. The bottom of these basins to the normal water level is about 6 inches, which means these things are just gonna be full of cattails. So if you just want cattails in all of these things, so be it. But most residents don't like that in their backyards.
Thank you, Mr. Rudd.
Thank you.
Anyone else wish to address this project?
Tim, do you want to comment on the trails, or whatever? Do you want to comment on the trails and coordinate with KDOT?
There is already something in process that's been updated for path along Randall Road. Both what Lennar is proposing there and that, what you see is that green line there, and then an accommodation for it under separate development.
Right here.
There would be something running parallel right there, and then all the way up this way.
Any other comments or questions? Okay, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn from the public hearing.
So moved. Second.
Motion and a second from trustee Yaska. Any additional discussion or comment? Hearing none. Madam Clerk?
Trustee Price.
Aye.
Trustee Uska.
Aye.
Trustee Johnson.
Aye.
Trustee Lapijanus.
Aye.
Trustee Angeli.
Aye.
Trustee Wilbrand.
Aye.
All ayes, motion carries. We are back in regular session. Moving on to reports and questions from trustees and working groups, starting with trustee Anderley,
Just the agenda.
trustee Alapajanis,
Just the agenda.
trustee Johnson.
Chief, I'll call you if you made any progress on that resource officer.
Trustee Yaska.
I
Thank
have
you.
nothing.
Trustee Price.
Just the agenda.
Trustee Wilbraham. Joe, anything from the team?
Nothing other than the agenda items.
Okay. Moving on to questions from the audience. This is an opportunity for those in attendance to address the board on items that are both on the agenda and not on the agenda. So let's start with ones that are on the agenda. Moving on to items that are not on the agenda. Okay, we'll move on. Consent agenda items A through D. As you all know, I now need to read these to you. Item A is an approval of bill list for $1.9 million. Item B is ratification of checks in the amount of $35,999.10. Item C is approval of minutes for the regular board meeting for November 17th, 2025. And item D is authorization to release Airport Road letter of credit. Is there a desire by any board member to remove any of the items from tonight's consent agenda?
Can I make a correction to the board minutes from November 17th, 2025?
Of course.
Of the packet on page 29, which would be item B, the 2025 tax levy discussion, almost at the bottom of the page, it says trustee Wilbrand was in favor of the 9% increase for now, stating that it could be lowered after a thorough discussion.
That is
Pretty sure that's
Yeah.
nowhere close to what I said. Maybe it would have been another trustee and my name got put in there, but I believe what I said was I'm definitely opposed or something along those lines. And every year we're talking about, hey, we can come back later and modify it, and we never do. So that would probably accurately reflect my comment.
Okay, maybe if we amend it as such to say that you are opposed to the 9% and realize even if we established it, we would be unlikely to come back and correct it.
Sure, and it's also on the voice record of the meeting
Yeah,
recordings.
oh
too,
yeah,
so.
no, I
Yep.
get it. So I would entertain a motion to approve the items on the consent agenda as amended by trustee Wilbrand.
So moved.
Motion.
Second.
Second by trustee Anderley. Any additional discussion or comment? Hearing none, Madam Clerk.
Trustee Uska.
Aye.
Trustee Johnson.
Aye.
Trustee Lapijanus.
Aye.
Trustee Angeli.
Aye.
Trustee Wilbrand.
Aye.
Trustee Price.
Aye.
All ayes, motion carries. We are moving on to resolutions and ordinances. Item A, the 2025 tax levy ordinance. Joe, what's the,
This was presented early in the month of November. We had a public hearing for December 1st. As trustee Wilbrand just pointed out, we had a subsequent discussion last meeting at the December 5th meeting. And so the direction from the board, given the 4 options that were presented, was to pursue the 9% ordinance increase, which basically maintains the same tax rate as we've had last year, taking advantage of the significant growth in EAV that we've had in the community. The 9% is out there publicly. It is not a 9% increase in individual tax bills. As part of the public hearing information, we did provide the municipal comparison, which we will update in March again, showing that actually West Dundee dropped from the third lowest to the second lowest in comparison for totality for municipal costs based on what the information we have it to date. So the direction was to prepare a 9% tax levy ordinance, and that's when it's in front of you this evening at 7.5 million, I believe is the correct number. Yes.
What's the questions?
I move to approve an ordinance for the levy and assessment of taxes for the fiscal year commencing May 1st, 2025 and ending April 30, 2026 in the amount of $7,521,120 for the village of West Dundee be adopted as presented.
Motion.
Second.
Second by trustee Price. Any additional discussion or comment?
Per my notes before, I know we need the help in the finance department. I support that. I don't think 9% I think 9% is too high for the amount.
Okay. We have a standing motion.
Trustee Eska?
Aye.
Trustee Johnson?
No.
Trustee Lapijanus?
Yes.
Trustee Andalay?
No.
Trustee Wilbur?
No.
Trustee Price?
Aye.
President Nelson?
Aye. 4 ayes. 3 nays, motion carries. Moving on to item B, the 2025 tax levy special service area number 4. Joe, 30 seconds on that?
Yep, this is the Carrington Reserve maintenance obligation and the total levy amount of $45,000 specifically applicable to both the sides of the Carrington Reserve development.
Comments or questions?
So this was from 2010, right? Or when was this originally?
Whenever the
Looks like
development was actually approved.
it said it was created in year 2001.
2001. Okay, so this is just a continuation.
Yep. Other comments or questions? Trustee Yeska, could you give?
I move that the 2025 tax levy ordinance for special service area number 4, levying the amount of $45,000 be adopted and filed with the office of the Kane County Clerk.
Motion.
Second.
Second by trustee Alapajanis. Any additional discussion or comment? Hearing none, Madam Clerk.
Trustee Eska?
Aye.
Trustee Johnson?
Aye.
Trustee Lapijanus?
Aye.
Trustee Andalay?
Aye.
Trustee Wilbur?
Aye.
Trustee Price?
Aye.
All ayes, motion carries. Moving on to item C, the 2025 tax levy special service area number 6.
This is the special service area as it relates to the Spring Hill Gateway project. This was a $1.5 million bond issue specifically against that property. The levy amount is $153,000, which is the principal and interest payment for this year.
Comments?
That's the one from 2010.
Correct.
Okay. Trustee Yeska.
I move that the ordinance establishing the 2025 tax levy for special service area number 6, levying in the amount of $153,432 be adopted as presented.
Motion.
Second.
Second by trustee Price. Any additional discussion or comment? Hearing none, Madam Clerk.
Trustee Eska?
Aye.
Trustee Johnson?
Aye.
Trustee Lapijanus?
Aye.
Trustee Andalay?
Aye.
Trustee Wilbur?
Aye.
Trustee Price?
Aye.
All ayes, motion carries. Moving on to item D, the 2025 tax levy for special service area 7-2024.
This is the special service area that was created last year in regards to the signalization of Wiesman Drive. Establishes an annual dollar amount levy of $60,000 against the properties that comprise the Oakview Corporate Park for their payment obligation for the signalization costs.
Comments or questions?
I move that the ordinance establishing the 2024 tax levy for special service area 7-2024 in the amount of $60,000 be adopted as presented.
Motion.
Second.
Second by trustee Alapajanis. Any additional discussion or comment? Hearing none, Madam Clerk.
Trustee Eska?
Aye.
Trustee Johnson?
Aye.
Trustee Lapatianis?
Aye.
Trustee Andalou?
Aye.
Trustee Wilbrand?
Aye.
Trustee Price?
Aye.
All ayes, motion carries. Track here. Yeah, I know, no, I need to call it up on my screen, sorry about that. Just was a little slow. Moving on to item E, 2025 tax levy, special service area number 9.
This is the specific levy as it relates to the downtown businesses. So they are paying their adequate pro rata share for the additional services that they do receive, including parking lot maintenance, snow removals on the sidewalk, upkeep of the planter boxes, specifically related to the downtown business area. And this is levied directly against all of the properties that comprise the downtown business district.
So this hits our businesses?
Mhm.
Direct, okay.
Yeah, they get the services.
Yeah, but,
Parking
okay.
lots and all that.
Well, is it
Yeah.
the business owners or the property owners or something?
It goes on the property tax bill, so it is the property owners, but however their arrangement is with their
So if somebody was
tenants.
renting their space, like the Retrocade or something like that, that would be the property owner that owns the building that makes the payment, and they can defer that to the tenant.
If it's a triple net lease and they have to pay it, yes.
Any other comments or questions?
I move that the ordinance establishing the 2025 tax levy for special service area number 9 in the amount of $40,000 be adopted as presented.
Motion.
Second.
Second by trustee Alapajanis. Any additional discussion or comment? Hearing none, Madam Clerk.
Trustee Eska?
Aye.
Trustee Johnson?
No.
Trustee Lapatianis?
Aye.
Trustee Andalou?
Aye.
Trustee Wilbrand?
No.
Trustee Price?
Aye.
4 ayes, 2 nays, motion carries. Let's go to item F, 2025 tax levy, GO refunding bonds, Series 2015, and GO bonds, Series 2024A and 2024B, abatement resolution.
This is the abatement resolution. The village has 2 outstanding bond issues. One is the 2015 and the other is the 2024 issue, totaling about just under $2 million of annual repayment obligation. The village uses home rule sales tax and TIF money to repay these obligations. We use the GO backing, which allows us to levy these bond issues against the property tax bills of the community, but because of the funding options, we do not. And so this is a $2 million payment obligation that comes from elsewhere within the community and not on the tax bills.
Comments or questions?
By elsewhere, where is that coming from, Joe?
Home rule sales tax and TIF funding.
Okay.
I move to approve the resolution formally abating both 2025 tax levy requirements for the 2015 general obligation refunding bond and the 2024A and 2024B general obligation bonds be adopted to be filed with the offices of Kane County.
Second.
Motion and a second by trustee Price. Any additional discussion or comment? Hearing none, Madam Clerk.
Trustee Eska?
Aye.
Trustee Johnson?
Aye.
Trustee Lapatianis?
Aye.
Trustee Andalou?
Aye.
Trustee Wilbrand?
Aye.
Trustee Price?
Aye.
All ayes, motion carries. Moving on to item G, ordinance amending duties of hearing officer administrative adjudication proceedings. Trustee Price.
Yeah, there's public law signed July 5th. It's effective January 1st. And in terms of the duties of the hearing officers that go to various violations, including, I think, the red light cameras as well as the code violations and all sorts of things. Joe, anything to add?
Yeah, and no, and that's just, this keeps the village municipal code consistent with state statutes, and village attorney has recommended the adoption of this specific section.
Okay.
I move to adopt an ordinance of the Village of West Dundee amending Title VI, Chapter 8 of the West Dundee Municipal Code related to administrative adjudication of ordinance violations.
Second.
Motion and a second by trustee Yuska. Any additional discussion or comment? Hearing none.
Trustee Price.
Aye.
Trustee Eska.
Aye.
Trustee Johnson.
Aye.
Trustee Labajanis.
Aye.
Trustee Andalou.
Aye.
Trustee Wilbrand.
Aye.
All ayes, motion carries. Moving on to item H, ordinance amending the Village of West Dundee Title I, Chapter 6 of Municipal Code regarding the President and Board of Trustees. So in this case, I had asked Manager Cavallaro if there was maybe some way that we could reconfigure the board and or the committee system that we have on the board to try to consolidate things so we can get greater participation by all board members, because as we've all observed, certain things tend to fall into certain categories more often than they do in others. So this way, I think, with all of us maybe doubling up on the 3 broad committees, I think it might give us all a chance to communicate a little bit more before items come to this body and just kind of enhance communication.
Sounds good to me.
So I have a couple questions.
Yeah.
In looking at the changes from, and we'll look first at Chapter 6 Village Board and Trustees, based on what it did say and what it says now, committees and assignments apart, you know, I might not agree with it, but that's the prerogative of the mayor. In Chapter 6, Power and Duties, there are 4 subsections added. What is the basis for those points? I mean, it says trustees attend all meetings of the board and any committees or commissions on which they serve. I kind of feel like we're pretty good with attendance. This is being added. What's the genesis of adding these points? And I could go on, but.
These were just pursuant to the attorney adding the statutory obligations that she felt were appropriate based on the positions we've added. I think there were some discussion regarding the powers and duties under the village president also. So it was just cleaning up the language related to both village president and board of trustees related to the stated obligations.
So did the attorney write these? Who wrote those? Who wrote the powers and duties piece?
They're picked up pretty much via state statute, and they were the recommendations from Attorney Orr in terms of these languages.
I mean, I've taken a look at some other boards and talked to some others. This is not normal to kind of itemize. Trustees will make decisions regarding village policies based upon reports, facts, data, and study, and not based on personal interest and bias. That just sounds strange, and it sounds like, I know we've had some contentious votes in the last couple of months, but the timing of that.
I think I could, I can see
Very
where,
suspicious.
I can
and
see where you're coming from.
My point, and what I've talked to others about, is where most municipalities that I've looked at says the Board of Trustees shall perform such duties and have such powers as authorized by state statute. Ends there. That's how it was.
I'm happy to do that. My whole goal in this, now obviously we had council add some language, and I can understand, given the context, that might seem like we're trying to be didactic here, and that was not my intent. My intent is to address the committee system. I'd like to consolidate it to 3. I'd like to have 2 board members on each committee, and the rest of it I couldn't care less about.
Does
Scrap
that
the
mean
rest.
you're gonna strike it then?
Yeah, we can strike the rest of it. We'll bring it back in January. Let's just kill the rest of this stuff, and I just want the
Yeah, I
3
mean, most of
committees.
the powers and duties are basically just as general statements and perfunctory of the obligations that come with the Board of Trustees. I mean,
Well, we're
trustees.
human beings. We have feelings, we have thoughts, we're gonna have personal feelings about some things. So I would say if you're gonna leave it, then at the end of that sentence, we could add, or by threat of intimidation. If you're gonna leave it in there, then you have to put that in there,
That
but otherwise I
wasn't
would
our-
take the whole
yeah.
thing out.
When I asked for this and when we sent it to council to be drafted, I don't think we were reading it from with that lens, but I get where it could be perceived that way.
I think the point I'm making is the voters are the ones that have the control. We vote based on what we think the voters would be supportive of. We go through an election every 4 years, all of us on this board do. We talk to the voters. We talk to the voters in between votes. Some of us, like myself, I post the agenda so people can respond with questions and things like that. So when I saw this, and maybe it wasn't the intent, it was almost offensive that it was dictating how we should vote, what we should consider when we vote, and nowhere in here was mentioned that we're elected officials powered by the individuals that vote for us. So that's my point in raising this. It caused me to do further research and looking at other towns, speaking with other attorneys that represent villages, and to my understanding, this is pretty atypical, so.
So yeah, my directive to Joe was to try to draft something so that we could all talk about the 3-committee system. A lot of this was language cleanup that clearly was not intended to inflame, but obviously it did. So we're gonna strike a lot of that stuff and bring it back in January so we could talk about the 3 committees.
So you're gonna,
Are we
are we
gonna,
gonna talk about the 3 committees
good.
now, or are
I
you
think
gonna
we should talk
assign
about the 3
us?
Well, we can do it in January once this language is cleaned up.
Okay, well,
Well, I think we should do that now.
Or do it now? Why?
Yeah,
Because then it's perfunctory, we have
Oh,
all the
when we
issues.
draft it?
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean,
Let's
powers and duties, as trustee Wilbrand, we can make it as simple as, is an existing code. Nothing is in here that is, really changes any of the authorities. It's just a matter of, general statements of responsibility.
So let's talk about the 3 committees.
okay.
I kind of explained my rationale for it. I think that we have a certain bifurcation on our board. I'd like to see some kind of the cross communication.
can we
And-
define what the, I know what mine is, police fire, I know Tom is planning, zoning, economic development, Andy's public works.
Yeah.
There's an intergovernmental relations, what are the other,
I
finance?
don't
Community
know, it was
relations.
mayor's council, but I can't go to that because I'm still at work at 5 o'clock.
Finance too, yeah, finance.
So there's
Admin,
roughly
finance,
6
and public works
liaison
is right at
shifts,
there.
3
Yeah.
of which, 4 of which are more active than others.
So he's combining the administration, finance, and public works together.
Correct.
Then police and fire is already existing, planning and zoning and economic development is already existing. So what you're saying is that whomever is on that board currently, or that committee currently,
Not
we want to have a
necessarily.
chair
I would see the.
and a co-chair,
The most senior trustees would lead each of these, and then they would have a co-chair.
co-chair.
But I don't, how does finance fit with public works? I mean, I know,
Yeah, it's kind of a catch-all.
yeah, it's a catch-all, it's like,
It is.
I mean, the finance piece is primarily budget, looking at all the financials as it comes in, right?
Well, and I'll tell you where my head's at. And I was going to have conversations with each of you as this was established, but for administration, finance, and public works, I would have Trustee Yuska as the head. He's the senior-most trustee, and I think has a lot of experience, and I would see you as the co-chair with him. For police and fire, I would see Trustee Wilbrandt and Trustee Alpajanis working together. And then for planning, I would see Trustee Anderley and Trustee Price working together.
We're always together.
I think that works. It just, to me, it's the administration and finance, I think, go together really well. Public works seems like it was sort of an add-on.
Yeah.
But, you know, if there's a goal to get it down to 3, that's probably the way it would go. Public works could be with police and fire as well, but, what was the, and I guess maybe the reason for 3 is because we've got 6 people, and
Yeah.
so you got 2 per group. And I mean, this is, if we don't like it, we can change it.
Yeah, we can
back,
change it
right? So
back, and
it's-
I think at the end of the day, you know, we're starting to,
It doesn't hurt to have a backup
Yeah.
for the
Yeah.
position,
Right.
so.
and I think as I've mentioned to everyone, as things come to the board, if we are in disagreement with one another, if we're in disagreement with staff, it'd be nice to know that ahead of time, so it'd be nice to try to work out, or at least have some idea of what we're all thinking. Maybe we could have some discussions and come to resolution, instead of kind of having the separation of sorts. I want to try to address what I think is kind of a gulf that's evolving, and I think that this structurally at least gets us all communicating. And as Trustee Price rightly pointed out, if it's not working, we can address it again. So, Joe, does this give you some sense?
Yeah, I mean, based on the direction I have, I mean, the simplest issue is just to leave powers and duties as A, delete B through E, and the ordinance is in final form.
Okay. All right, why don't you take another shot at it, kill that language? And then we'll talk about it again, the first meeting in January. Do we need to table this?
So we can't just do it as amended?
You can do it as amended if that's what you choose.
I don't think there's a lot of comfort, given the
you're
perceived
taking
severity
all
of the
of it off.
language.
Well, no, there is no language. You're taking,
Language.
you're taking powers and duties under village board and saying Board of Trustees shall perform duties and have powers as authorized by state statute, which is exactly what Trustee Wilbrant was advocating, and the four other items under there are eliminated.
Motion.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any additional discussion or comment? Hearing none, Madam Clerk?
Trustee Price?
Aye.
Trustee Uska?
Aye.
Trustee Johnson?
Aye.
Trustee Lapijanis?
Aye.
Trustee Anderly?
As amended, aye.
Trustee Wilbur?
All ayes, motion carries. Thank you all. Moving on. Item I. Ordinance amending the West Dundee Municipal Code, adding Chapter 5, Title 2, Special Events Committee. Trustee Wilbrant.
Okay, we'll try this one again. This is formalizing a West Dundee Events Committee. There's been a volunteer corps of 7 or 8 individuals in West Dundee, along with, included, and those 8 have been myself and Trustee Anderly, trying to bolster events for the village. We had a good year as far as doing events, staying on budget, thank you to Thomas, and providing opportunities after we did some polling and finding out what community events the residents were looking for. So in order to streamline that and to structure village resources, to structure village funding, and hopefully create some sanity between Joe, myself, and Thomas as far as getting things done with ideas, the presentation here is to set up a formal commission that would be like the Appearance Review Commission and the Planning and Zoning Commission. There would be a panel and commissioners that would be appointed by the mayor and would help organize, would help approve, and essentially triage anything related to West Dundee events. There are some existing events that we're not reinventing the wheel on. There are new events that the committee would like to see done. This last year saw the French Market, some of the Finally Friday events, and some of the other things related. Essentially, this committee is, my discussion with Mayor Nelson would be to see the plans, approve the funding, allow for village resources, allow for Open Meetings Act and communication, and better allow the village to plan for and use its resources to accommodate these events. So before you is kind of a retread of what we talked about before. We answered some questions. I spoke with the committee members. I spoke with Mayor Nelson about realistic goals and what the committee would be doing. We're not looking to take over anything that we hadn't already done, but at the same time, provide some streamlining for the village.
Thank you. Comments or questions for Trustee Wilbraham?
Yeah, the last time we checked, you were gonna help, you were gonna try to define roles and responsibilities that you were comfortable with. Has that occurred? You know?
I think yes, and I had a good conversation with Mayor Nelson and with the committee themselves. And I recall the conversation when we talked about it at board level. We were both saying the same thing, but from opposing views. The committee is not looking to take over Heritage Fest. Heritage Fest would run through the committee to approve of financial purchases and things, and then recommendations would come to the board from that committee. So it's not a takeover of anything like that. From the committee's perspective, that wasn't looking for 10 more events to do themselves. They were not taking over that committee or that event because it's already something that's established, just like Dickens, just like Heritage Fest, the bike race. The committee's not taking that over. However, being the conduit by which recommendations, petitions, or events can be proposed to, and recommendations made to the board for the official voting on the budget, the dates and times, and the general parameters. So yes, we did have a meeting of the minds.
Okay.
So with all that, just so I'm gonna straight in my head, as far as like getting volunteers and all that, will still remain the same, would be on staff to do?
Getting volunteers.
Like say Heritage Fest and doing
Oh.
all that organization?
Essentially, yes. I mean, what the committee was afraid of is they have now volunteered to be a worker at every single event from the planning to the execution, which kind of like what they are now at the Downtown Events Committee. They pretty much have zero more bandwidth to facilitate any more events, so they were a little gun shy of that aspect. But Heritage Fest already has a machine, so does Dickens, so does the bike race run by Maureen. That remains the same. And I think what we're saying is those approvals and those recommendations come through the committee to the board, just like planning and zoning would. Planning and zoning isn't out there measuring, those board members aren't doing those things, but those concepts are coming to them for recommendations to the board. I hope that made sense.
The biggest issue is this committee for the last 12, 18 months has operated outside of the village. And so they haven't had the cover of liability, our general insurance, and those type of issues. They've been entering into contracts without, village approvals. And so the formalization of this committee facilitates all of that being under the village's umbrella and puts that in under that approval process and under the village's insurance coverage, which is really where it should have been to begin with.
Is there, sort of a legal difference between a committee and a commission?
Yes. In the way this is happening, yes, just as Joe explained. The committee was volunteer, so
Yeah.
call it a committee, call it a commission. But for villages purposes, just like the Planning and Zoning Commission and the Appearance Review Commission, West Dundee has commissions.
Right.
And that brings it under the West Dundee Village umbrella as
So
one of
this
those
will
types.
become a commission. Got it, okay, because,
And I,
it's,
Once it ends
the
up-
motion says committee.
Right, but the issue is it ends up in the municipal code, so it is under a village-approved authorizations.
Trustee Wilbrant, you have the floor.
I just caught it, Tommy. So what I should say is Title II Special Events Commission. It matters not.
It matters not,
Yeah,
because,
okay.
but the fact, whether it's a commission or a committee, as long as it's included in the municipal code and authorized by the village board, that's what gives you
Covers
the
the
liability, the indemnification, and all of the necessary approvals that go through it.
I'm just gonna say commission when I make the motion. So,
But I have one quick,
sure,
then that's okay, because with Melissa and I doing the Halloween party, so something like that,
same.
I would run it then to you guys?
So the way I see it would be those plans, those expenditures would go to the commission to review, make our recommendation to the board, and the board would vote like we normally do. We essentially add a middleman, but hopefully can package and facilitate things sent to the board under the umbrella of the village.
Because
Way
that's
too,
like a
there's a-
fine oiled machine too.
Right, yeah, if there's a collision of events too, if there's
Right.
something planned. And
Yeah, that way too, for dates and stuff like that, right? Okay.
Trustee Wilbrant, you have the floor.
Okay, with that, I'll make a motion to approve the adoption of an ordinance amending the West Dundee Municipal Code by adding Chapter 5, Title 2, Special Events Commission.
Motion.
Second.
Second by Trustee Price. Any additional discussion or comment? Hearing none, Madam Clerk.
Trustee Wilbrant.
Aye.
Trustee Price.
Aye.
Trustee Eska.
Aye.
Trustee Johnson.
Aye.
Trustee Lapagianis.
Aye.
Trustee Andalay.
Aye.
All ayes, motion carries. Moving on to item J. Trustee Price said was this the item that we needed to?
No,
Okay,
no, this one's good.
please.
So we have this is the property at the northeast corner of Sleepy Hollow and Route 72, often referred to as the Regan property. Essentially, this has been through many plans over the years, and this is probably the least dense plan of any of them, and it's essentially a continuation of the development to the north. And it will be composed of 84, or the proposal is 84 single-family detached homes and 34, I'm sorry, it's total of 84 single-family detached homes on the 34 acres. And this is been through planning and zoning for preliminary plan review and received unanimous recommendation for approval by the board to move to the next step for final. We have the
Tim, yeah.
Eric Hartwell, attorney for
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. My name is Eric Prechtel. I'm with Rosanova and Whitaker, 445 Jackson Avenue, Suite 200 in Naperville. I'm here this evening on behalf of the petitioner, Pulte Home Company, in connection with the proposed development at the 34 acres located at the corner of Route 72 and Sleepy Hollow Drive, Sleepy Hollow Road. First of all, I'd just like to thank you guys for all of your time and consideration this evening, as well as thank Tim and village staff for all of their hard work in getting us to this point. I do have a brief presentation as well as a number of consultants here with me, so we'd certainly be happy to answer any questions that you guys may have. Oh, sorry. Yes. So by way of background on the petitioner, Pulte, Pulte is a publicly traded home building company with a national footprint. They are the third largest builder by volume in both the United States and the Chicago area, selling over 900 homes in the Chicagoland area last year. Currently, Pulte is active in 17 different communities around Chicago, including the Trails of Woods Creek subdivision in Algonquin and the Highland Woods subdivision in Elgin. Locally, Pulte is very proud of the success it's had right down the road here in West Dundee at Carrington Reserve, and certainly we hope to replicate that success again here with the development of Tartans Creek. So moving on to the subject property, as I mentioned, the site is located on the approximate 34 acres at the northeast corner of Sleepy Hollow Road, north of Route 72. I think it's important to note that this is adjacent southwest of the existing Tartans Glen subdivision, as well as south of the hills of West Dundee. So by way of background on the subject property, it was annexed back in 2002, at which point it was zoned B2 Regional Business District. However, in 2005, the village adopted a new comprehensive plan, at which point the proposed use was switched from a commercial use to a residential use. Following that comprehensive plan amendment in 2008, the subject property was rezoned to the R4 multiple family district with a special use for a planned development, at which time it was approved for 193 homes. That included 173 townhomes as well as 20 single-family detached homes. Since then, and as mentioned, the site has been the subject of a number of concept iterations for development. This includes almost exclusively we're all more or higher density, and these range from anywhere from 89 single-family detached homes all the way up to 320 apartment units. So moving on to the comprehensive plan, anytime we begin planning a development, we always start by looking at the village's planning documents, in this case, the comprehensive plan. As you see here, the comprehensive plan designates the future use of the property for multiple family with a density range of 4 to 8 dwelling units per acre. Likewise, looking at the zoning map, the property is currently zoned R4, which is low-density multiple family residential. Again, this designation permits townhomes consisting of up to 6 units per building, which translates into over 12 dwelling units per acre. So that brings me to the site plan that we are proposing, which consists of 84 single-family detached homes with a density of 2.4 dwelling units per acre. We think that's consistent with the adjacent subdivisions, specifically the Tartans Glen subdivision, which is at 2.5 dwelling units per acre. Just a few notes or highlights I would state with regards to the proposed site plan. Primary access will be at the southeast corner of the subdivision off of Route 72. Secondary access will be via 2 points to the north into Tartans Glen. You'll see that we have 3 naturalized stormwater basins on the site, which will serve the development's stormwater needs. You'll also see that on the east side of the largest detention basin central to the site, we do have a park site that includes an overlook, a pollinator garden, and an open play area. Finally, in addition to the sidewalks, a multi-use path will be installed along Route 72 to provide interconnection to the pathway that's currently being installed by the village north along Sleepy Hollow Road to provide residents with that connection up into the Forest Preserve property to the northwest.
Is there only one exit to 72 there?
Correct.
Is there gonna be a stoplight there, or do you think that?
There's a left turn in. It's under IDOT jurisdiction, so it's currently going through the IDOT review and approval. As of now, though, there's a left-hand turn in, but those conversations are ongoing with IDOT. So now moving on to the housing product for the development, we are proposing Pulte's Meadow series of homes. This includes 5 different models, each containing 5 or 6 different elevations. The Abbeville will provide the subdivision with a ranch option, with the other 4 models being 2-story. The homes will range from about 1,700 up to 3,200 square feet, 2 to 5 bedroom, 2 to 4 bathroom, a standard 2-car garage with the option for a 3rd car garage. Shown here are the elevations for the homes. We've included one elevation from each model. However, as I mentioned on the previous slide, each one of these will have 5 to 6 different elevations. You'll note that the homes are modern American in design. We're also using high-quality building materials, including masonry and brick accents. And we've also included diversity in the siding type, which includes the incorporation of your traditional lap siding as well as the shake siding.
And is there a ranch?
There is a ranch top left. It's the Abbeville is the ranch option.
Oh, that's your right.
And then shown here are several examples of the interiors. You'll note the open concept floor plan with high-end kitchen designs that have made Pulte's homes attractive to a variety of home buyers and have contributed to their success across the Chicago suburbs. And then lastly, I just want to point out, in addition to receiving a unanimous positive recommendation from Plan Commission last month, we do have letters of support from both the fire department as well as the village manager. So that's all I have as far as presentation. As I mentioned, there are a number of consultants here, so we'd certainly be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Thank you for the presentation. Comments or questions?
I just have a couple of comments.
Sure.
I know there was an earlier original plan that did not advance because of the issue of the borrow pit. And I liked that plan. I thought it flowed better, and it did not appear as this plan does to have greater density, even though this is in fitting with Tartan's. I mean, it's very similar, but it just was a nicer flow, and I understand the reasoning. But for some reason, with the new plan, then 2 more housing units were added, because the original had 82, and I guess you felt it was more accepting to do the 84 and you know, increase the benefit to you. But having said that, this plan pushes more homes up against the existing homes in Tartan's, where the other one, you know, was able to avoid impacting the residents that have been there for over 30 years. At the planning and zoning, I know a comment was made, can we save existing trees? I know that's a difficult situation. You hit a few roots and the trees are gone anyway. So that's, someone was building a custom home, that's something that can be done more easily and with more care. But the other comment came up, and I'm not sure if there is any easement along that north line that would allow for some vegetation, just because all of a sudden these people are going to be exposed to something they have not been exposed to before, knowing that there's been plans in the works for many years. But there's also an elevation difference as you go from Glenmore and Stewart, that goes down towards 72. So the existing homes are going to be elevated a little higher, and now they're going to be looking more at rooftops and stuff as it goes along. So if there is any way of putting vegetation in there. I know it was brought up at planning and zoning. If there's a way to have some type of easement there that could do that.
A lot of that would be predicated on the grading plan, on whether or not.
Well, I'm just throwing it
it's
out there.
A legitimate option.
I like the first plan, and I understand why it didn't happen, but
You'd like a better buffer or screening
just
between
something,
the two
because
developments.
to me, this looks more congested, where the other one was more open, but you were playing with a different piece of property, and I understand that. So I'm just making those comments.
And those are all valid concerns, and without stepping out of turn, since I'm not an engineer, I know this site design was decided upon because of the engineering constraints of the site. That said, we do fully realize that there are more lots pushed north up against the existing subdivision. So we continue to, and I think we'd probably be happy to, if we need to put a tree in the rear of each lot along the north property line. I think that's something that Pulte could certainly agree to do.
And then the other thing that's good about this plan is it added the connection to the east too, which I think was important to, eventually that property will develop, and so we wanted an internal connection without sending people out to Route 72.
And while Mr. Rudd is here, can you please bike paths on here? Can you highlight those? I'm sorry, you don't have the mouse.
So it's all the way.
Yep.
Correct.
I can
exactly.
see it in the
Oh,
tiny print. I
yes.
don't think everybody else back here.
It's a little harder to see up there, and then it'll connect to the path up at the northwest corner, ultimately leading up into the forest preserve.
And all the way to the east edge to eventually continue to,
Correct.
all the way into town eventually.
Other comments or questions? Trustee Price, you have the floor.
Move to approve an ordinance approving one rezoning from R4 low-density multifamily residential to R3 single-family detached dwelling unit district. 2, a preliminary plat of subdivision. 3, special use for a planned development. 4, preliminary development plan. 5, zoning deviations for minimum lot area, minimum lot width, rear yard setback, and building location. 6, zoning variations for floor area ratio, front elevation ratio, garage setback. And finally, 7, subdivision variations for pavement width and parkway tree count on approximately 34 acres, northeast corner of Route 72 and Sleepy Hollow Road, is identified as Tartans Creek subdivision, subject to 4 conditions. Do I need to read all those?
Yeah, we'll just stipulate those. We have a motion.
Second.
Second by trustee Alapajanis. Any additional discussion or comment?
One question, where's the mattress store on here? Is that
To the
included?
right or
Back
to the
there.
east.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
still
it's,
like-
it's off the page slightly, but it's, that property is right, you can see it there, yeah.
The barbecue is right here.
Yeah.
That is located in Sleepy Hollow. That entire parcel.
Okay. I think we have a standing motion.
Trustee Price?
Aye.
Trustee Eska?
Aye.
Trustee Johnson?
Aye.
Trustee Lapajanis?
Aye.
Trustee Andalou?
Aye.
Trustee Wilbrandt?
Aye.
All ayes, motion carries. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good luck. Moving on to item K, ordinance authorizing and approving a loan agreement by and between the Village of West Dundee and the IEPA. Trustee Huska.
This is for pertaining to phase 2 of the lead pipe replacement. Initially, there was not to be monies available for us, but since they're calling bypass funds, which exist because monies that were allocated to municipalities were not used completely, and so there is some money available. Hopefully, if we move quickly enough and get this presented before the end of the year, and this is step 1 of that we might be able to get a loan.
Comments or questions?
So this is just to authorize you to go forward and propose that, is that right?
Yeah, this is authorization to try to get the bypass funds and basically apply for that loan fund.
Okay.
I move to adopt an ordinance authorizing and approving a loan agreement by and between the Village of West Dundee and the Illinois Environmental Protection Agency.
Motion.
Second.
Second by trustee Price. Any additional discussion or comment? Hearing none.
Gasko?
Aye.
Trustee Johnson?
Aye.
Trustee Lappagianis?
Aye.
Trustee Anderly?
Aye.
Trustee Wilbrand?
Aye.
Trustee Price?
Aye.
All ayes, motion carries. Thank you, Eric. So,
L through O.
L through O we're tabling?
Well, we can still discuss them, but the attorneys are, so this is all related to the property that, the public hearing was a subject of, and, the attorneys are still working out some of the details, and so we're not in a position yet where we can, make these approvals, and have motions on each of these, but if there's any
Yeah, I mean,
questions or so.
I think we're all.
Yeah, we just want to maybe just bring up the copy of the site plan. We just want to run the board, you know, if the board has any specific questions that they may have on the items. This property is currently unannexed, and so that was the purpose of the public hearing. So this would be an annexation agreement, ordinance granting zoning, the preliminary plat and approvals, as well as a development agreement. As pointed out, there's 183 units, 3 acres is left to be annexed in the future. Well, it's annexed under this, but developed, subject to a separate development agreement in the future. And we would just offer it up if there's any comments or questions. The Lennar team is in attendance, and we need the Lennar attorneys need a couple more days to work this out, so this will probably be on the January 19th agenda for approvals.
Is there any way to incorporate the comments on that bike path, into here, or is it too late for that?
Which bike path?
Ron had some comments.
So there's already a bike path
There's a bike path
plan.
that's here.
Yeah.
We have a bike path that comes through the site and connects through here. So there's one that already comes through the site, and there's one that traverses the site. The only one that Ron had referenced that is not included is the Route 72 section. And the difficulty was that with that is the extreme environmental features that are right through this area crossing Jokey's Creek. And from the staff perspective, our position is at some point in the future, Route 72 will be widened. And at that point in time, it makes more sense to try and incorporate a bike path into that redevelopment, into that construction plan, as opposed to trying to do it individually at this point.
But that would be on the village and not on the developer at that time.
Not necessarily, that could be part of the,
Set aside.
well,
Yeah, that's what I was
on the state, as part of the state program.
And the
part of their
DOT
complete-
has a requirement for, you know, complete
streets.
streets. And so presumably the state would be putting that in.
But that would be hoping to get a grant and hoping that
I mean,
that
they're
project
supposed
would
to be
produce that
putting
as
it into
opposed
their
to
program.
Making it part of this proposal.
Well, you also need to remember that
Right,
our
yes.
bike path currently stops
Right.
east of Wessex. So there's a whole section of bike path that's not included in here for the same reason, because of the environmental features that exist at that location.
And that currently is West ND property?
Yep.
Yeah, we would definitely eventually want to have bike paths along.
Yeah, but can we stipulate it that, something aside for it, just,
Well, are they already required to, is there some additional right of way, remind me, because of, for IDOT, future widening?
I don't think it's necessarily the land, or it's the financials to pay for the pavement and flattening and that.
shouldn't be that much.
How much did it cost to install along Sleepy Hollow Road? It was roughly 3/4 of a mile, correct?
Yeah.
It's about $1.5 million.
Oh, no, not for the bike path itself.
Okay.
But
so
that
all
includes the
resurfacing.
resurfacing and everything, so that was a whole project. We can go back and quantify the bike path itself.
Yeah, we have a couple weeks. We have almost a month. Just chat it up through. Any other questions or comments for the Lennar team? Okay, Tom, I think you need to table, council, we're just gonna table L through O in an omnibus, if that's okay? All right, thank you.
move to table items L, through O.
Until,
January.
date specific, January 19th.
Okay, into January 19th, 2026. Do I have a second?
Yes.
Okay,
Second.
Trustee Johnson. Any other comments or questions? Hearing none. Madam Clerk?
Trustee Price?
Aye.
Trustee Uska?
Aye.
Trustee Johnson?
Aye.
Trustee Lapidus?
Aye.
Trustee Anderly?
Aye.
Trustee Robert?
Aye.
All ayes, motion carries. Thank you very much. We'll see you guys next month. Moving on to unfinished business item A, change order number 2 and fence rental extension, Spring Hill Mall demolition. Trustee Yaska.
There's a change order that involves some additional work due to the,
Transite pipe
yeah, the pipe.
Sears and a
By
holding
Sears.
tank.
And removal of hazardous materials. And then there's the large water tank that needed to be removed and disposed of. And so that is one part of this, and then the other part is that we need to keep the fence for another month because there's still this additional work that needs to be done that they estimate, more grinding that needs to be done and to complete the demolition.
Crushing will be completed within the next 30 days, which allows for the elimination, removal of the fence at that point in time.
And then the stockpiles will be spread.
They'll be spread sometime in the spring. So we will have a period of time where we have those until snow melt and everything
those-
else.
There's no concerns.
Yeah, are
leaving
those
the
gonna be an
stockpiles.
attractive nuisance?
Uh,
Just asking.
Yeah, I don't know either. I mean, the question is, it's that $5,000 a month to
Oh,
continue
okay.
to keep the fence in place.
Just don't want
For what?
somebody to. Any
For what
opinion on
end?
that, Eric?
I mean, I think that, speaking with Chief, the open space that comes after it's all spread is probably more attractive. I mean, those piles, it might, someone may wanna mess with those, but we figure we're still gonna keep an eye on that when it's open, and that may become a bit of a motocross.
Yeah, well, maybe we could
donuts and
put up
things
some
like that.
signs that indicate that it is a dangerous area, so nobody can say I didn't know. Trustee Wilbrandt, being an attorney, any thoughts?
Yeah, I was gonna say, is there any liability issue if they go up on those piles and?
yeah.
Well, civil liability is not really, and litigation's not my forte, but as far as criminal defense and prosecution, that's pretty easy and open field to see them running across there. But I would defer to council to see if there's anything we can do to insulate ourselves from liability with having massive gravel piles open.
Signage is probably the best.
I mean,
best way to go.
signage would be the appropriate, but obviously the fence is a legitimate option also.
Once you guys,
But it's just a question of,
why don't you and the team talk about it, and then in a month's time, you guys can just decide if you think it's, if we can.
well, part of this is cost issue. as
Oh,
well. Yeah,
absolutely,
so
I get it, you guys
$1,000 a
balance
month.
it,
You got it
talk
towards,
to,
right.
Or
the
maybe just
chiefs.
even our, our insurance carriers or any.
Yeah, talk to Irma.
significant
Yeah,
exposure.
we will.
If nothing else, maybe the scope of it can be reduced.
Yeah.
To cover, I'm sure it can be shrunk if nothing else,
Okay,
identifications.
right, Trustee Huska, do you have the floor?
I move to approve change order number 2 to the Spring Hill Mall demolition contract representing an increase of $18,878.25 to the total project cost and approve extension of the perimeter fence rental period for 1 month at a cost of $5,135.55.
Motion. Second by Trustee Price. Any additional discussion or comment?
And I would just like to point out that this is a $3.5 million contract that we entered into with American Demolition, and this is the first legitimate change order that we've had. This project has gone really well under their supervision and construction, and couldn't be more pleased. And I think it translates into the minimal change order amount that you're seeing tonight.
Yeah, that's great. Good work. All right, we have a standing motion.
Trustee Uska?
Aye.
Trustee Johnson?
Aye.
Trustee Lapidus?
Aye.
Trustee Anderly?
Aye.
Trustee Wilbrandt?
Aye.
Trustee Price?
Aye.
The last motion carries. Anything else to go to the order? I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion by
Second.
Trustee Johnson and then Trustee Anderly. Any additional discussion or comment? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We are adjourned. Merry Christmas.